Listeners be advised. The Soliloquy podcast discuss matters related to the human experience and many that are sexual in nature. Due to this, some conversations may surround triggering topics such as sexual violence, self-harm, abuse, and much more. Please be advised, a list of crisis and psychological resources will be available in the show notes of this episode. With that said, let's get started with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention please as we go through the following safety instructions.
In the event that there is a loss of cabin pressure, oxygen mask will drop from the overhead. Place the mask over your nose and mouth. Breathe normally as oxygen is flowing even if the mask is not in. Be sure to adjust your own mask before helping others.
There we go. Recording is a motherfucking process. All right. So, clears my throat. Life is good, everybody. Life is motherfucking good. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Soliloquy podcast, where we step out and speak on sexuality. This is your favorite host, Vernon T. Scott, also known as Slaytor Jackson, and for you freaky motherfuckers out there, Sebastian Adams. On today's episode, we're doing some gender bending. Not really, but we are talking about gender. I don't know if I could flip my gender and reverse it. No. I'm not Missy Elliott. I can't do well. Missy didn't do that towards her gender. I'm gonna just shut the fuck up. I've offended at least 18 people at this point, probably more. Look, if you was offended by that, I'm sorry, but you can also suck a dick. But no, I'm joking. Let me stop. Oh my god,
it'd be like that.
It'd be like that. It really does. Oh my lord. Look.
For real, people find anything. So now I be hearing people talk like, I'm sorry, this offended. I'm just speaking for me. Anybody, like every time after somebody says something, now they be tiptoeing around everything. I'm sorry if I offended anyone. I'm just speaking on my opinion. Well, actually, let me take that back. So it'd be so much. People trying to find the politically correct way to say shit all the time.
Exactly.
Maybe like just say what's on your mind. Just say it. Somebody else can resonate.
I only apologize to certain people that I legitimately offend, and you better be of that representation, because look, you're not gonna be like, how dare you say this about this certain group? Bitch, are you a part of that damn group? Who the fuck are you? The police? Back the fuck up. Find me your friend who was offended, and I'll talk to them, because you're not worthy of nothing. Back up.
All right, just be mindful of the gender police. Gonna be paying attention to this one.
They will. Again, you could suck some dicks, or eat some pussy, or eat some ass. If you out here fucking, I love it. What you prefer?
Whatever you identify as.
At this point, I'm going to start telling people suck a dick with the pronoun on it. That's going to be the episode title. I'm sorry.
Suck a dick with a pronoun on it.
Oh god. All right, as y'all can hear, Z is with me again on this episode, and I guess I stepped into some toxic shit, and I'm going to stay here. It feels, you know what, I'm going into my most people have whole phases. I'm going to my fuck nigga phase, and I'm here for it. So Z, how are you doing today?
Oh, marvelous.
That's good.
Same old.
Well, since you're back on the podcast, do you mind reintroducing yourself, letting people know about the great things that you're working on, how they can connect with you, follow you, and all this other great shit? Just let them know all about the awesomeness that is you.
Okay. Well, I'm Z, aka z.raye, aka Zahir. You know what I'm saying? On Instagram, zz.raye. And I'm the host of NomTalmBaht podcast. Yeah, I'm from Houston, and I'm a trans guy, and I just be talking about shit and doing shit and working and shit. And that's it.
Making money. Making money, exactly. Podcasting, possibly smoking weed. If you are, I support. Actually, I know you smoke weed. I
Hell
seen your
yeah.
show. This nigga like
Yep.
literally opens and closes. You didn't you have like a whole minute or so on at the end of one of your episodes, you just high as shit laughing or some shit?
Yeah, I was singing the song, you know what I'm saying,
There
about
we
my
go.
girl Kamaya. She one of my new favorite artists. You know what I'm saying?
Bro.
I had to get it in there, you know what I'm saying?
I was so
I was
confused.
it was on my spirit. It was on my spirit. I had to let it out and I had to share it. It was at the ending. I was like, you know what? I need to get this song out. I just feel it.
And I will say one of the greatest things about having a deep voice is that you can always find a good note and stick on that note.
Pretty much, pretty much.
It's like the easiest thing. Like I feel bad for those people who say that they can't sing. I'm just like, all you have to do, find your note. When you find your note, that's it. Like people ask me all the time, Vernon, can you sing? Nope, but I have one good note and I know it. That's it. I could sing off
See,
key all day.
that's something that was hard for me to it was hard for me to find my new note because
Mm,
before my old note, before transitioning, it was, I could do all types of notes. You know what I'm saying? And then now I had to relearn how to sing. I was like, damn, so I had to find my note, like you just saying. And it's
mm.
one note. It don't really go no higher than that note. So it is what it is.
So what was your voice part prior?
What do you mean?
Like what were you
Before
alto?
before it's oh, I don't know. Shit. My voice was really small. What did you call that?
I don't know, a whisper? The fuck?
It was very light. It was
Mm,
very shit. I got all my transition stuff on my YouTube, fucking talking and all my different voice phases and shit. But yeah, shit, it was a small girly voice. Nothing
possibly,
special.
possibly like a good what is it? Soprano. There we go. We
Yeah, shit,
we
I don't
fuss
be
with the
knowing the
soprano.
difference. I don't be
Um,
knowing.
I took chorus for like 4, 5 years, six.
Really?
I think I started chorus in seventh grade, and I'm not doing the math. I feel like that is okay. High school's 4 years, seventh. Okay, so 6 years I was in chorus. There we go. I did the math. I was,
Oh wow.
but I went from uh alto to um actually I was like alto one, then alto two, then my when I got into high school, my chorus teacher, she was very religious, so she was like, I'm not
Mhm.
going to have a man singing with the women. So then I became tenor one, and then my voice got a little bit deeper, not that much, and then I was just like tenor one, tenor two, and then I found my one good bass note. So that's pretty much where I was since high school. She trained the alto out of my voice. Let's put it that way.
Oh, okay, okay. Interesting.
But yeah, that's that. It was fun. I would say chorus was a very fun class. So what was your experience like? Like, as you know, you transitioned and got to relearn yourself. What was that like?
Um, it was challenging due to having nobody really in my corner at that time.
Damn.
Other than that, it was cool. Like it took a minute for anybody to respect me. Really, it took me to, no disrespect to my parents or nothing, but like, for parents, I have leniency. I get it. I came from you, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't expect you to get it from the get-go, but like it wasn't really until I moved out from my mom's house where I felt like people started to get it after a while. Like, but then like me not coming around at times around family, I felt like they didn't get to really see me evolve and
Mhm.
see what I look like. So in their head, they always had the girl version in their head and always referenced to me as a girl or whatever. But like as far as like support, I had to go out like outside of family to get support, make new friends. And that's basically what I did. I got with my girl, then she introduced me to some people, network. And from there, it kind of branched out from there, getting to know more people in the community, getting to know more people from there. You know what I'm saying? So like being out and proud versus I was about to live stealth, meaning live a life where nobody knew I was trans. You know what I'm saying? I was very close to living life like that, but I kind of already did, and it's very isolating. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Now being out and proud, basically not giving a fuck. It's freedom. Like it's freedom, but it's also certain stuff people hold over your head, like with me doing OnlyFans and being open about it. Like some stuff come back and bite you in the ass, but I always tell my dad, like he'll be trying to go back and forth with me. I always tell him the reason why I know I'm the strongest in the room, despite what the family be saying about me, is because I can name all the shit I got going on.
mm,
They can't. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind. Like I'm gonna throw all my shit on the table. Like, and they can't. Like they can't admit they faults. And that's how I know I'm the strongest person. And so, that's kind of how I look at life now. Like you might as well tell it before other people tell it for you, or try to tell your story for you. You know what I'm saying? So
mm,
yeah, I was close to being stealth. I was very close to it, but I'm glad I didn't. But like, and now like me being so open, like even if I want to live like a private life, it's kind of hard. It's always gonna be those people that kind of be like, "That's a trans man," or try to put you on blast.
mm,
It's like sometimes you kind of just want to exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it just comes with the territory. You know what I'm saying? Of me being out. I ain't really tripping on that though. But yeah, it's been cool. I mean, I don't really got no complaints other than I realized that people in the LGBT community are just as traumatized as people in the straight community
mm,
as well. You know what I'm saying? They could be just as trash and just as now I hold people to an individual level. I don't treat people special just because of their demographic no more. Like I
mm,
get the difference between being a vulnerable demographic versus you thinking everybody should just bow to you because you're part of that demographic. Like that's not how life works. So now I kind of look at things in that way too. So it's just been a growing experience, you know what I mean? Like it's had its ups and downs, but that's just come with life, no matter what you
mm.
do in life, you know.
Not you dropping gems, Lord. I haven't been to church in a while, most definitely on the podcast, and we're in church today. Good Lord. Like
It
the
is Sunday.
it
It's
is.
Sunday.
And you said some real shit. Most definitely you said that the strength comes from just owning your shit. Like you could step and
Yes.
be proud about it. Like
Yes.
you can't hold anything over a motherfucker's head when they admit to it. Like that's a part of the reason
Exactly.
why I just start calling myself a hoe because like
You might as well own the title if that's what it is. Like,
might as well. Like even when I wasn't even sexual, people thinking I'm out here fucking around and all this other stuff, and I'm like,
exactly. They
okay, you do
automatically think like if you're a man, a part of the LGBT community, like I can see why people like will hypersexualize y'all and think that y'all just out here being super predators. Like they always think that for some reason. Like they think
exactly.
y'all out here just fucking anything. The minute you
Uh,
say you identify as something like even with being bisexual, like people automatically assume you just fucking any and everything. Like, no.
It's like, no, that's not the case. And
No,
I have
no.
standards, and my standards are quite high. Like,
Right. Like,
look, this is not the Titanic where we just let everybody on, and then when we sink, that's when we start to get selective. No, motherfucker, you couldn't
right.
get on this boat to begin with. The fuck you
Exactly.
mean?
Exactly.
But yeah, like I have some people in my family who just won't get it. And I'm like, I'm not going to educate you. I'm not going to be that person to hold your hand through this process
Right.
because you
Mm-hmm.
get to a point where you just like, I don't need you in my life, but I want you in my life. But if
Mm-hmm.
you choose to do whatever the fuck you want to do over here, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to continue to
Right.
exist and I'm just going to continue to do me, continue to be great, to continue to be happy. And it is what
Mm-hmm.
it is. The Soliloquy podcast focuses on the variability of sexual expression. When it comes to sexual expression, we often depend on pornography to illustrate how one must perform sexually. For those who have not learned this by now, the stuff you see in porn is not real. Pornography provides a singular perspective of sexual expression that is not often the reality we see during our own sexual encounters. The Soliloquy podcast is a conversation that takes you outside of the compressed box of what many know about sex. Some of the topics we discuss includes kinks, condom usage, status disclosure, and past sexual experiences. The Soliloquy podcast steps out on sexual norms and recognizes that the norm is not the only normal. Subscribe today and join the conversation. I'm going to continue to exist, and I'm just going to continue to do me, continue to be great, to continue to be happy, and it is what it is. I'll be at your funeral, and I'll say how much I loved you.
Exactly. But I mean, family, I said the other day, like, I said, if you can fucking make it through family, like, if you can deal with family, you can deal with anybody, like. Because those are motherfuckers you actually love. You know, you're conditioned to love. You're conditioned to respect. Well, at least in my family, like, they have that elder hierarchy, that old Southern elder hierarchy.
Gotta love it.
Conditioned to love them, respect them. You know what I'm saying? And that complicates things. And if you can face them, you can face pretty much anybody. Like, because them be the most fucking. Like, you could like some of them, you know, you wouldn't fuck with them if they wasn't family. Like, I wouldn't even be around you if you wasn't family. Bruh. And it just be like that. Like, it's hard. It's hard. And I used to let them run over me the most. And once I started to set boundaries and speak my mind, now you disrespectful. Now you causing drama. Now you know what I'm saying? Like, it's you really, like, you can't win with some people. Look, so you might as well protect your energy.
I love it when someone gets upset when the boundaries start to come up. I love it. It might be a kink, because I'm just like, you're upset because I'm choosing to remove myself from you, and you've been pushing me away all this time. Now you got a problem. Okay, fam, that's cute.
Yeah, that fucking elder hierarchy in my family is something serious. Like, you supposed to just let them do whatever, because they your auntie, or they your grandma, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so much shit.
Look, I know, like, in my family, it's usually just the grandparents that you don't disrespect, and the parents. Other than that, auntie, uncles, and all that other stuff. Probably not like the immediate ones, but, you know, like your grandmother's brother, your mom's cousins, and all them. Who the fuck are y'all? Like, I love you, but your seed did not result in me. So what are we doing here? But, like,
mine be on some like, on some other shit for real.
Like, with my the book I wrote. So my book is titled The Essential Guide on How to Be a Hoe. My grandmother, she laughed. She loved it. She asked for a copy. And I'm like, if my grandmother can accept this book, I don't give a damn what anybody else have to say.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
My dad also cool with it. Again, you could have as many problems as you want about who I am, but the people that I love and cherish, they have no problems with it. Fuck you.
Right. Yeah. And I really wish that was my case. Like, now on my mom's side, they cool. Like, my grandmother is cool. You know what I'm saying? My uncle is cool. When I went up there, they from California, so that's like kind of a whole different world versus Texas. But as far as like mentalities and stuff, and over there, you know what I'm saying, they kind of was just like, my uncle was like, oh, I got some weights. You want to lift weights? Like, that's what type of stuff he on, versus my uncle on my dad's side would try to be dry snitching on me about stuff like, such and such talking about me, such and such is sagging. You know what I'm saying? Just different petty shit. Different weird shit. You know what I'm saying? That's the shit
Yes.
that I be having to deal with.
I actually do get that. I've had that experience of people snitching, and it's just like, oh, you know Trey is doing. Why are you telling my dad? Like I could be out here on a whole video with my fucking ankles behind my fucking neck. Why are you watching it to begin with? Two, why are you telling my
Right, that's
dad that this is
weird.
going on?
That's weird. That's weird.
He don't need to know what the fuck I'm doing.
That's weird.
It's so
Why are
it's
you watching my shit? That's weird.
it's so like you know me. Don't be
That's
watching
like
me.
this. That should be an unspoken rule. Like you, family, you come across any of my sexy stuff or my sex stuff, you supposed to keep that to yourself. Like you're supposed to be embarrassed
Mhm.
finding it in general.
Look,
Like
delete, delete, delete. Like I found an old coworker on Twitter giving head to somebody, and I was like, I was not looking to see this. Granted, this is a coworker. I was kind of like, I will fool around with them, but you know, we kind of
yeah.
gained distance, and I saw that I was like, let me not follow this profile. Let me don't want to see that again because I want to respect that boundary that I set for
Right.
myself. Like my family who wants to come on my podcast who really do not understand. I tell these people uh, about what we talk about on this podcast all the time. So when you going to let me be a guest on on your podcast, bitch? Never. I don't want to
I
talk
don't want to
about your
hear
sex
about
life.
when my auntie was throwing that ass. Like,
Right.
I don't, I
I don't
don't
care to
care.
know. I don't care to know. We're good on that. If we're talking about family and mental health, we could have that
Right.
episode. But no, because we're talking about sex. Okay, the sex.
Exactly. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Oh God. So one of the things we were talking about in the intake meeting was just some of the misconceptions and stereotypes that people have for trans people, like the belief that, oh, you can just say that you're this and go into any kind of bathrooms and all this other stuff. Like it's not real, all this bullshit.
Mhm.
What are some of the misconceptions that you've been dealt with, or some of the ones that you want to address on this podcast and that we can unpack? What's going on?
Misconceptions. Testosterone makes you gay. Um,
I feel like that's the truth. Hold on now. I know a lot of gay men and I know a lot of straight men who just be like a little too homoerotic for me. And I'm just like, are y'all fucking? Because I heard
no,
the manliest
I
of men like some dick.
it do be a lot of homoerotic stuff going on. Now, I was speaking for the trans men because
Mhm.
I've heard it kind of going around. Like it was one period where it was going around where kind of people were going back and forth about whether for trans men does testosterone make you gay. And I wanted to point out that that's a no, that's a misconception. A lot of people feel like because it makes you more sexually active, that means that you just crave dick, basically. That's kind of what they're saying.
What?
But I would say no, because most of us, if you talk with us, if we're attracted to men, we would tell you even before
Mhm.
testosterone, there was some attraction there as well. So that's one. And then for two, what's a misconception? We transition to get the I guess opposite gender. Like that's saying like I transition to get women or a trans woman or transition to get a guy. Now, has there been some questionable times where it's kind of like I've seen some people get surgeries to appeal to their partner, or like for instance, I know a trans guy that got a hysterectomy to kind of appease his girlfriend at the time. Like, I've seen people do things to their bodies to appease some people, or like be taken more seriously by people. But I think that's still a misconception because for the most part, no, we're doing it for us. We are transitioning for us. And there's also some trans men that are attracted to men. and it's just men, and that makes them gay trans guys. And then you have some trans men that are just attracted to women, that makes them straight men. And then trans women are attracted to men, that makes them straight, or they could be bisexual if they like both, you know what I'm saying? Or, all these different things. And then also, I also heard a lot of gay guys going back and forth about whether it makes them gay or not if they like trans men. Does it still make them gay? I've seen that question pop up all the time,
Wow.
and a whole bunch of people debating and arguing under these posts and having their think pieces and stuff, you know. And I think that if you're a gay man and you like trans men, yeah, you're still gay, you know. And I think if you're a bisexual man and you like trans men, it still makes you bisexual. If you're a straight woman and you like trans men, that still make you straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, now there's some blurred lines that can occur. Like, there's always some exceptions that occur. Like, it depends on what the woman decides to identify as after getting with that person. Like, say if I got with a straight woman and then she say that she want to identify as bisexual now or being with me, I'm necessarily not gonna get offended because I know what parts I have, and you can grow to like that part, and you can also grow to like that part in women as well after having your experiences. Like, I'm also the type to let people be them, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a lot of debate, if a lesbian dates a trans guy, that doesn't make her lesbian anymore. Like, people are picking and choosing what labels to put on people nowadays, and I don't like to do that. I think that's a misconception that we all want to do that and force labels on people and force things on people. I personally don't give a fuck if I'm with you and you identifying as a lesbian. Well, I think that's a little weird, but I'm still gonna be like, hey, that's that's you, because I also know plenty of women that say they lesbian and still fuck with niggas like cis men. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've dealt with girls like that, like personally. Like, I was fucking around with one girl. She said she was a lesbian, but she fucked with cis men all the time. Then ended up having a baby daddy. And you know what I'm saying? It's so many fake lesbians or fake, what I'm saying, out here anyways. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's always a touchy subject, but I would say that's a big misconception that we be trying to force stuff on people. But
Yeah.
yeah, the bathroom stuff. I always think that that's centered around trans women, and women saying, they fearing for their safety. And I don't think that they would want me in their bathroom looking how I look.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think cis women want me in their bathroom, even though they say that we shouldn't be condoning it by allowing men in their spaces and blah blah blah. But you're not gonna know if I'm a trans guy or not. If most trans guys, you're not gonna know if we trans or not by coming in there. Like, you're gonna be like, what the fuck is this man doing? So I think that that's just a fake ass concern. Like how white people used to say, we got to protect our children. We can't desegregate these schools. You know what I'm saying? What about our kids? You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things where it's kind of like throwing things out there. Now the focus is on sports, as if there's so many of us. There's not a lot of us. You know what I'm saying? It's just so much stuff they try to throw curveballs at to make an issue out of and get people riled up so that it could be more divisive and less tolerance for the trans community. And then I think the trans community has this, a lot of times, this fake utopia where it's not going to work, where we're not the majority in the world. So we got to come to terms what we gonna do, because we gotta live together somehow. Sorry, that was long-winded, but
No,
yeah.
but again, we're in church. We are in church. And Pastor
Yeah.
Dunn gave a sermon.
Hmm.
Got that straight from Second Corinthians, verse 2 in chapter 1.
Exactly.
But no, that's real shit. Like, most definitely with the trans people in sports conversation, I really don't like. I I understand some of that history there because I know
Right.
part of the reasons
Right.
why we have the male female leagues is because at one
Right.
point there was a large number of men who were afraid that if women were to join, I forgot exactly which sport it was, but if they were to join that sport, they would start to outdo men, and they were afraid of that. So, oh, let's go ahead and create a completely different league rather than having these sports with women. And I'm just like, so what you're
Hmm.
telling me is that the reason why female sports exist is because of male fragility. Mm, okay. And then and
Yeah.
then like the conversation with like I remember I think it was my freshman year of college. There
Mm-hmm.
was a trans man who was into wrestling, and they didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to put him in his, the same gender league. They were like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh no, you were born female at birth, so you have to wrestle these women." And he, okay, they put him over there.
Mm-hmm.
He wrestled in the league that they put him in, and he dominated. And because he dominated, they were just like, "Oh no, we can't have men in women's
Mm-hmm.
sports." He said he was a man to begin with.
Yep, that's
Y'all
how it
did
always
this.
is. Learning the hard way. And that's the thing. Like, I feel like if your levels is matching that similar to like the cis people you playing against, that's fair to me. Now, if you just got on hormones 3 months ago and you're a trans woman, you just got on hormone 3 months ago, and you trying to go against cis women, I think we could talk about some unfairness there because I think that there is a difference with how testosterone chemically is versus estrogen. Like, because I would know, because I grew up an athlete. So I know the difference between when I worked out before and now. Like, the way I'm able to get strength is so much faster now. You know what I'm saying? So but it's just the issue of them making it seem like it's so many of us when we only make up a fraction of society.
Mhm, a
You know what I'm
very
saying?
small fraction.
It's like they blowing this shit out of proportion, like as if y'all are not going to take these things on an individual account anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, you making it like, let's just ban trans people from sports. And it's like, maybe that's a bit extreme. Like,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Why not just make sure we meet the requirements? Because everybody got meet requirements anyway. Like, there's a reason why they have weight classes and specific heights that they really aim for. You know what I'm saying? Like, in
Hmm.
basketball, they really choose like 6'1" and up guys. Really, 6'1" is considered short to them. Like,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like, every sport got its requirements. So them acting like trans people are the issue now, I think that's just a divisive tactic, and it's just a way for them to express they hate and get
Hmm.
people to express they hate and come out the woodworks. Like how when Donald Trump came, a lot of people came out the woodworks and started showing their true face. You know what I'm saying? It's just another one of
Hmm.
them situations where it's kind of like a bait to get people to show their face. Like, we got to get
Hmm.
people to really also voice their opinion about how they don't like this, so we could really just ban trans people from getting hormones altogether. Let's do that.
You
You know what I'm
know,
saying? Like,
and it's so
yeah,
stupid because I'm like, do y'all realize that you need those same hormones that you're trying to ban? Because you're going to get old. You're going
you're
to get to
right,
that point where your dick is
right.
no longer going to get as hard as you want it to. And guess what? That Viagra is going to wear off. You might need a little bit of testosterone to help kickstart that horse. How you doing?
Mm-hmm.
That
Exactly.
testosterone rub that you got in that lotion. We know what you're
Uh-huh.
doing. We know why you always have to
Mm-hmm.
move your hands like that because you're trying
Mm-hmm.
to oil up for that Viagra later on. It's okay. It's okay.
Exactly. Definitely. And at my job, they make estradiol, like a cream that you put on your vagina so that you can produce more estrogen or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? We need hormones, so you might as well not get rid of that. Everybody need hormones somehow, some
Hmm.
way.
How some way.
You know.
Let's not be ignorant. And I know a stereotype that I used to hear all the time that I'm actually appreciative that I don't hear this much now, but it's like people who think that, oh, so a feminine gay man or someone who does drag is also somebody that's trans, or a stud is somebody who's trans. Because I've had some friends in the past who would ask their stud friend and just like, what's this going on with these trans men, or what's this going on with these trans women? You don't do like that, and don't realize that these are two completely different individuals. These are completely
Damn.
different experiences.
Yeah.
This
Identities.
is a woman who identifies as a woman who's very, masculine and wants to be called a nigga. And I fucks with them because I love me
Mm-hmm.
a good stud, because studs are
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. And this is a
Mm-hmm.
man who identifies as a man who is just assigned female at birth. Completely different.
Right. Right.
Isn't that hard to understand?
Yeah, that I've heard of that, but I'm glad I never heard anybody ask me that dumbass shit. But I've seen some studs kind of recently get like top surgery, and you know what I'm saying, kind of be under that trans umbrella now, or identify as non-binary. It's a growing community, I would say, but I also see a lot of trans people stressing, like this is frustrating me because I'm different than that. Like, I need to really set that line. But y'all want it to be blurred lines. We can't have that, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a binary trans guy, and it's a lot of things I don't understand because I actually experienced gender dysphoria and was you know I went to a therapist and he diagnosed me with it, and all these different things, and I don't really get the in between stuff. But I mean, hey, who am I to judge it? You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about it. I get why some straight people will be confused as hell nowadays. Because it's a growing community, you know what I'm saying? It's no longer really kind of like black and white. Even in the trans community, a lot of people are expressing in different ways. But
Mhm.
hey, I just mind my business and keep it moving.
Look, I'm of the mindset, if I find you attractive, I find you attractive. And in terms of how we have sex with each other, we could figure that out. Like, like right now is we're on the attractive level. Is like that's where we are, but we have
Right.
not gone to the are we fucking stage yet. Like,
Right.
I don't. People just annoy me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. It's very much growing
Hmm.
in different ways. I can't really keep up all the time, but hey,
Well,
it's what it is.
we just exist. So, to bring back a question, how do you find your sense of masculinity?
Um, I would definitely say with what I see in the mirror, like for me, gender is very black and white. I see myself as a man and I transition to see the man, you know what I'm saying? And I would say, before it felt like it was always like a never ending thing. Like before transitioning, it seemed like it was a never ending journey to find my masculinity. And once I transitioned, I started to really see it unfold and believe it in my head, and things started to match up. And then, even now, to the point where even if I'm naked and I don't see a penis, I still feel very masculine. I have my moments where it's like, damn, I don't feel masculine right now because I see a vagina, but but that's very rare because everything else, as far as how I carry myself, like down to how I dress, I'm very binary. I always dress like a guy in my head, Yeah, my masculinity is expressed through like the way I dress, especially. It always has been before I transition. I really struggled to like find girl clothes to wear. Like I didn't have any taste for it, and my sister kind of would just dress me up, and people thought I was dressing so nice, and da, da, da. And I'm like, well, my sister dressed me. In my head, I'm like, oh, I'm glad you think how my sister dressed me is nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, and now it was always so natural and easy for me to find like masculine clothes and guy clothes. I've always naturally dress well, in my opinion, in that regard. Like, it's how I dress, it's how I look. My masculinity is very binary with how I view it. So yeah.
Yeah, I fucks with it. I fucks with
Definitely.
it.
Yeah.
So, um, because I guess this is kind of a misconception thing too. Uh, it's related to toxic masculinity because a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
don't, when we have that conversation, we automatically think of men, and
Mm-hmm.
it's something that, like, sign at
Mm-hmm.
birth men that, this is something that
Mm-hmm.
is solely towards that. But
Mm-hmm.
we often don't see that you can find toxic masculinity in any person. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter what a person was assigned it, to at
Mm-hmm.
birth or anything like that. It exists because we live in a patriarchal
Mm-hmm.
society at one, and then
Mm-hmm.
on top of that, a toxic ass society and a toxic
Mm-hmm.
patriarchy. So it's like toxic
Mm-hmm.
masculinity is everywhere you go. So, what have you experienced toxic masculinity? Have you had to uh, um, like remove some of that from yourself? Have you seen it in
Mm-hmm.
other people? What is your, experience with toxic masculinity and avoiding it too?
Women uphold it, I feel like just as much. Now, do I think men create it? Yes, but women help uphold it. As far as toxic masculinity, I feel like um that's always a hard subject because like when men make it not okay to be vulnerable, it's almost a weird term where it's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around it. Not that I don't believe that it's true, but like to talk about how it shows up, it almost feels like I'm just naming the qualities of just a trash ass person.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
true.
even if they didn't have toxic masculinity, they would just be a toxic person. Like, I feel like I feel like the ability to kind of not, I feel like it's kind of one of those things where it's the eye of the beholder because like everybody defines man differently, everybody defines what is a woman differently. And then toxic masculinity feels like, for me, I would say to me, it looks like a man putting on a performance of gendered expression based off of what his stereotypes are, what a man is supposed to behave like, even if it's the detriment of others, especially women. Um, Anything outside of this box, this imaginary box that nobody really lives up to, really that he's just performing, is basically outcasted or should be treated differently or unequally. And I feel like a lot of men try to shelter that term. I mean, try to shelter that behavior under the alpha male box, basically label. Um, Really, they say they're alpha male, but they're viewing women in the most misogynistic ways of where women should be more submissive. Like, say, for instance, a woman gets cheated on by her husband. The man says you should be a better wife rather than taking the man, making him accountable for cheating on his wife. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
Like different things like that where it's trying to avoid from holding men accountable in any way. You see what I'm saying?
mhm.
From bad behavior, especially towards women. So that's kind of how I view it. And also, there's homophobia. I think that kind of goes along with going outside of that alpha male, straight cis male box. You know what I'm saying? Anything outside of that is deemed negative, should be seen as negative, and we're going to set up our society in that way. And really, it's just one of those things that's kind of under the umbrella of patriarchy to me.
Mm.
So.
Yet again, I think we're in chapter 3 of Second Corinthians now, verse 5. But I
It's
agree
true.
with you wholeheartedly. Like,
Mhm.
there's so many people who like the alpha male concept in general. It just makes me laugh because I just like y'all just give so much beta energy. Like, for me, I feel like if you truly walk in your masculinity, there's nothing that you can do that
Mhm.
someone's going to remove that from you because
Yeah.
your masculinity is a part of you. Like you can
Right.
walk out there and be in a dress and still be
Right.
masculine. It's just
Right.
whether or not how you want to express that is
Mhm.
fitting with you. It's like you cannot really remove that from somebody just because you feel like, oh, they're outside of the norm. Let me call them something
Mhm.
else. Let me call them a woman. Let me call them feminine.
Mhm.
But it's just like, who the fuck are
Mhm.
you? You don't identify
Mhm.
me. You cannot necessarily label me just because you feel like you can have 1,000 people that agree with you about this is what masculinity is supposed to be, but you don't have to live that way. And I
Yeah.
think that's a thing that these alpha male people
Mhm.
seem to lack. They don't understand that regardless of what you do, no one can take that masculinity from you.
Mhm.
If you fear that, if you feel as though
Mhm.
they can, that's a problem. That's something you probably need to work on to see why is it that your identity is so fickle that you
Mhm.
give someone else ownership of that part of
Mhm.
you.
Right.
And
And
yeah.
then and really it boils down to the world should see it's basically hypocrisy at times because they're saying the world should see it from my point of view and live that way. Men should be this way. And then they say that, say for instance, the trans community does the same thing where it's like y'all only want people to view it in your way, which is true. Some people are like that, where they just so narcissistic, they can't look past and self-worshiping, they can't look past their own view and will look at other and won't look at other people's point of view. And really, like I said, it comes down to being a trash person and nobody holding
Mm,
you accountable for it. Like why I said some women uphold it is because, like, say for instance, you have a little boy, you know what I'm saying? She's trying to mold him. She may be trying to mold him into that quote unquote alpha male mentality where it's like don't go outside this box, don't go outside
mm,
this box, you can't play with this toy, you can't play with this color, like you can't mess with pink, you know what I'm saying? Even though pink started off as a male color, but anyways, it's a different subject.
mhm,
But it's just like it's those little things where it's like don't go outside of this box. And for a lot of women it's protecting, they're trying to protect they whoever they dealing with, they kid in that instance, from they know they're gonna have a hard life ahead of them if they are anything outside the box. But it's kind of like, why not try to dismantle this, you know what I'm saying?
mhm,
Versus keep upholding it. You know what I'm saying? Just assimilating. And I think we at that generation of time where it's kind of like we're gonna draw the line and get the information out there on the internet. We're gonna, educate in different ways and more creative ways. You know what I'm saying? I think that's really what always has shaped society, like the art
mm,
and the way that, the way we express, and allowing different expression is how society is molded. And a lot of people look at it in a negative way if people express themselves in a different way. But if we don't, that's going backwards. Like if we're just saying, putting people in one box and saying, don't go outside of that, you know what I'm saying? That's going backwards. You know what I'm
mm.
saying? So yeah, that's really all toxic masculinity is, just upholding those patriarchal standards of what a woman should be, what a man should be in a patriarchal society. So yeah.
So while you were talking, I know I really do need to go into the end portion of these segments, but something just jumped out to me, and I want to
Mhm.
ask your opinion on it. Do you feel as though toxic masculinity within the Black community is a trauma response?
Is it a trauma response? At times it seems so, like um I like, okay, if we look at somebody like Louis Farrakhan,
Mm,
he's a good example of somebody embodying kind of like a trauma response, like going into those very strict male binary rules, you know what I'm saying, all while talking about slavery and what white people have done and all these different things. Um I think he's a good example of that type of person where, and then a lot of people will follow behind, or not even just him, somebody like what's his name? Umar Johnson. Like
Mm,
people like him are what I think of when I think of like yes, they're right in a lot of these instances. Yes, they're right as far as like the racism side, but really you have a lot of anger, really. You have a lot of anger, and then you're embodying that image of that alpha male. You feel like you have to do that part. Like, does that make sense? Like you're
mm-hmm,
feeling like you have to embody that character of the strong black male.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? Really, because racism is kicking your ass every day wrongfully. You know what I'm saying? Like
mm,
that's the kind of people I think of. And a lot of men, are looking for that leader again, like the MLK and the Malcolm X, and people are looking for that leader, and everybody want to kind of be that leader. You know what I'm saying? They saying they not having any strong black males anymore, and if it seems like a lot of the men are fighting for that image again. If you
mm.
kind of pay attention, so
Yeah.
yeah, I would say at times it could definitely be a trauma response, like from white supremacy, for sure.
Yeah, because
For
I,
sure.
I was thinking about how, like, even when it comes to how a lot of men are raised, and you raise your child to be able to protect themselves in the society that we live in, and part of that is
Mm-hmm.
assimilated into the culture, and we
Mm-hmm.
know that the the white supremacy
Mm-hmm.
um society that we live in, it is
Mm-hmm.
white male dominated. So we know
Right.
that
Yeah.
these are the teachings of what a man is supposed to be. So let me
Mm-hmm.
build my son up to be that man. And then on top
Right.
of that,
The
working
black
out
version.
and working into
Mm-hmm.
these spaces, let me become embody that as well, so that I know
Right.
that I could fit into these spaces and survive, because in this society I'm supposed to be the
Mm-hmm.
breadwinner, and if I'm not being the breadwinner, then I'm not
Mm-hmm.
making it, I'm not thriving, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
surviving, therefore I'm not worthy enough to be able
Mm-hmm.
to, you know, be a whole being in this society. So why not
Mm-hmm.
make sure I facilitate that and continue to preach that, so that, hey, y'all see me from the outside, y'all see me as that man that I'm supposed to be. So why are you not,
Mm-hmm.
approaching me? But the only downside of that is that
Mm-hmm.
preaching that is keeping you from recognizing who the people that you're really wanting are. Most definitely when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to, relationships, because we have a lot more women in this society. And, well, I
Mm-hmm.
could say people in general who want to have mutual respect in their relationships. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
the over here saying that you need to be, macho macho, you're losing those options. And now, because of the shift, let's go on racial lines, of a lot more
Mm-hmm.
white men acknowledging that, you know what, that macho macho shit is not healthy. That macho macho shit is
Mm-hmm.
not where we should be. Let's communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have these conversations, because to think about things on a broader spectrum, white people have been in therapy a lot longer than we have. So
Mm-hmm.
they have done the
Mm-hmm.
work, they have done the healings. Therefore, that will always be a better option, because on the black hand side, we're dealing with all that trauma and not trying to let it go.
Man, when I be looking at how like white men, like even how the humor is set up, they don't mind straddling that gay joking line, and not like their masculinity and manhood not really be up for debate. Like, but with a black guy, if he do anything like homoerotic, like even if it's in a joking way, like
Mm-hmm.
that's basically saying you're taking away their manhood, or you emasculating them, or you know what I'm saying? Like it's so many things white men have more freedom to do. Like they have more freedom with their gender expression and their manhood not be up for grabs versus black men. So I see why some black men go so hard to try to fit this this alpha male image, but then at the end of the day, like I said, it is a trauma response. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of men undoing the work, and you know what I
Mm,
mean, doing the work and undoing a lot of those things. And a lot of it starts like at a happy home with
mm,
both parents not upholding it, and you know what I'm saying, just letting their kid be their kid. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so deep, and you know slavery was not that long ago,
mm-mm,
so you know what I'm saying. It's so damn deep, everything is so deep, but I have noticed like just white people have more freedom to do anything really.
mm-hmm. Facts.
Like they got more freedom to do anything, even when it comes to jokes. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
It's pretty crazy.
It's real crazy. And if
Yeah.
you happen to be a black man, listen to this podcast, and you felt triggered and or you felt as though that you connected with something that we just recently said, there are resources in the show notes. The therapy ones, exactly. Look into those. Therapy is great. Therapy is important. Love you. And if you just want to rage out and hate listen to the podcast, make sure you give me those 5 stars. And also suck a dick with a pronoun on it, motherfuckers. so,
Exactly.
so let's get into some never have I ever. You
Okay.
ready?
I'm ready.
Never have I ever made out with two people at the same time.
Nah, I never done
I have. It was a threesome and it was great.
that. Now I've had a threesome, but never made out with two people. Yeah, I'm sure that'd be interesting.
Sir, what are
Yeah.
you doing?
I don't know. I guess I just don't be liking to kiss people like that.
Okay, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense because you know
Like
you can't
even
be
when I
kissing
watch
everybody.
when I be watching kissing scenes, sometimes I be like, ooh. Like in movies. I be looking away sometimes, like
Not you be looking away. Oh my God. But I sometimes I be having that thought like, okay, like when like those scenes when people just be real right there in that person's face. I'm like, I wonder if
Mhm.
their breath stink. Like,
Exactly. They be talking to each other face like
like what are we doing here? Are we taking mints before this rolls or what else? What we got going on? Because I know if I'm on a scene and I have to like get this close to somebody, I popped at least 3 minutes just to make sure the back of the throat got all that it needed. Swallowed some and gargled some damn Listerine and all because I am not you're not gonna catch me slipping.
Right, exactly. You be talking
You
about me
smell it.
saying he got some stinky breath.
Look, be like, we cannot do another kissing
And
scene with
and it
Burden.
and then it be documented on a movie. So every time people watch it, yeah, I heard in this part right here, his breath stunk. Nah, yeah, definitely not gonna catch me slipping.
Not at all, because we're not playing these games. Look, I'm going to have the questions, everything. Are you allergic to any kind of breath mints or anything like that? Oh, you're not? Bet. Okay. We're doing this. We are doing this.
Mhm,
Throw something in their
exactly.
mouth. We not. Mm-mm.
Hmm. For sure.
You ready for another one?
Yep.
So, never have I ever been gagged during sex.
No.
I have
Uh-uh.
not either, but I have gagged somebody during sex. It was fun.
Right.
It was a role play scene, and it was a lot of fun doing that. I would
So when you say gag, do you mean like with the dick, or are you saying like with the actual gag?
well, I was just thinking like putting something in their mouth to keep them from talking.
Oh,
That, but
nah.
also a good question too. I have not done that either. Well, not well with the dick, but I have gagged somebody.
Yeah, I never done that. Nah.
Look, I still don't get why some dudes enjoy get like gagging people with the dick. I know that it's that sound that they love, but I would
Really?
throw up. Like some dudes really like that. No,
Ugh. Now
why?
I've done it on accident, but not on purpose.
Look,
Not on purpose.
like y'all. This is not a porn. This is not a porn. If it is, let me know because I need to know. I need to make sure my names are in the credit. And on top of that, I have a specific stage name that I need to be down there. And am I getting paid? Because
Exactly. Need the compensation.
we need the compensation. I'm not a free extra. Speaking of which, I've had some people who do porn ask me like do the like I want to have sex with them and then said, "Oh, you also have to pay." And I was like,
What?
"To be in your content, you're asking me to pay, bitch. I
I've
could
had people approach me and say, "Hey, what's up?" And I'd be like, "Well, how's it going?" And then they'd be like, "I'll be down to link with you sometimes." And I'd be like, "Oh, okay, whatever, depending on what they ask." And then they'll say, uh, yeah, my rates are da, 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 da." And I'll be like, "What the hell?" That's happened to me a couple times where they approach me and then tell me they rates. It's not how that works.
it's not. I'm like,
Like
okay, like if we're
I'm not gonna knock your hustle, but nah,
if if
that's
we
weird.
if we're going to have a scene that we're doing together, who's the production company and how we're going to get that taken care of? And if you don't have a production company that you're working with, this is just going to be promo for the both of us at this point because
It wasn't even like content type of thing. It
oh
was just
Lord,
them trying to sell some dick or ass.
look, oh my God,
And they'll approach me and then we'll just have a conversation and be like, would you be down to meet? And then they'll just state their rates. Like
I'm
I wouldn't even
done.
say yes or nothing. They would just give me their rates. Like
I'm done.
that's kind of what
Individuals
niggas be on nowadays. It's kind
individuals
of
with
weird.
dick. Individuals with dick. I just there's this one thing. If you are out here topping motherfuckers, you have to sell an experience, right? If you can't sell an experience, you don't have rates, motherfucker, to charge anybody because ain't no you coming over here and you came quick on me. No, I need an
Yeah.
I am purchasing something, and if I don't reach where I thought, if I'm not seeing heaven, if I'm not seeing an as yet, but if I don't see the mountain, the Lord, as well as somebody's fucking grandmother when I come, we are. You did not sell. You did not do what needed to be done.
Yeah, it's the approaching me and giving me your raises. They supposed to approach you, weird ass. But yeah, that's what motherfuckers be on.
Oh my God, this age. Oh, I'm done with y'all. Would you like a would you rather question?
Sure.
Would you rather let your significant other sleep with your best friend or let them sleep with your worst enemy?
My best friend. Yeah. My best friend is actually a woman, so maybe that would be interesting. Yeah, I would rather that one than my worst enemy. Who's my worst enemy? I don't think I have a worst enemy.
See, if I have an enemy, I don't know who they are.
But
Introduce yourself. I would love to know. Uh,
I just know that if the motherfucker is my enemy, nah. Okay, okay, yeah, definitely a friend
yeah,
versus a worst enemy. Yeah.
I think I'll go the same route because I'm just like, this is friend. Like, okay, y'all know each other
Right.
anyways. If y'all was feeling each other and y'all had sex after that, is it still there or what's up? Is this
It is what it is.
it is
Like,
what it is. All right,
yeah.
y'all not doing this on a recurring basis. I just know that. But
Exactly. Without
you
my
had
permission.
you had the experience. Was it good? Was it great? Was it bad? And that's it.
Right.
We Gucci, we Gucci. Thank you. The enemy, all I can say, make sure you join the I Hate Burn community. Is at ihateburn.com. It's $25 per year. Join up. I love it for you. Thank you. Oh,
Right.
on that note, do you have any last words that you'd like to share with the audience?
I would like to tell the audience that trans men are men and don't be randomly asking trans men if you can get them pregnant, or don't randomly approach trans men and ask them if they have a dick or pussy. And I think people should educate themselves before asking like questions like, Do I still have my period? And because these are stuff you can Google, you know what I'm saying?
Mm,
And I think that's just disrespectful at a certain point. You know what I'm saying? Try to get all the things you can Google first, you know what I'm saying, before talking with somebody when you're talking with them about personal things. And I'm not saying you ever made me feel disrespected at any point. I think that you're obviously educated on things, but it's just some people out here to just be willy-nilly just diving right into it without knowing the person, or the person opening the door to say, yes, I would like to be asked questions, or yes, I'm down to talk. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Let's just be a little mindful about people, you know what I'm saying? I get that a lot of people are excited, you know what I'm saying? They're meeting a lot of trans people for the first time
mm,
knowingly, and you ready to jump right into it. But let's just, hold your horses
mm,
and get yourself together, and then we could talk. You know what I'm saying? Approach a motherfucker that actually don't mind talking, and we'll let you know everybody is different
mm.
on different accounts. And yes, every trans person is different. You can't hold us to a monolithic or stereotypical standard, because it's always going to be a person that goes against those standards and grain. So yes, that's all I want to
Hey, it's a
say.
beautiful message, a beautiful message.
Thank
Uh,
you. Thank you.
you're welcome. And again, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. I greatly
No
appreciate
problem.
you. To the
Thank
audience
you for
out there,
having me.
oh, of course. For the audience out there, thank you all so much for listening to the Holy podcast, where we step out and speak on sexuality. Just in case no one else told you this today, you are beautiful, you are worthy of happiness and joy, you are enough and then some. You may not live up to the expectations of others, but that is okay. You are only required to walk in your own shoes. May each day you live lead you towards abundance. With that said, love you all and see you next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Holiloquy podcast, where we step out and speak on sexuality. You can subscribe to the podcast through your favorite podcasting app and find us on the web at www.holiloquy.com. That's www.heauxliloquy.com. Share the podcast with your friends and join the conversation.